Time for a brand new season of the Supercar Challenge. Welcome everyone to the start of the 26th running of this fabulous championship. We begin at Zandvoort this season and then trips to Zolder, Assen, Spa and Hockenheim, which is back on the calendar this season. Here's a look at the calendar in a little bit more detail. So Zandvoort will be round 1, round 6. Then we will be off to Spa, Zolder, Assen, and that trip to Hockenheim, a very exciting one for the championship. Here's a look at the circuit then, Zandvoort circuit, which has been a very familiar venue for this championship. A narrow circuit, lots of elevation and lots of places to make mistakes as well. We've got that famous turn 3 Hugenholtz corner, which the drivers will be looking forward to taking on, and then good overtaking opportunities at turns 1 and 11 as well. Here's a little bit of an overview of the circuit. There you can see the turn 11 to your left. There is Hugenholtz now just to our left as we creep over the circuit. Tarzan corner to our right, which kicks things off. You'll see there's a lot of gravel traps as you look round, lots of barriers, no real room for error around this circuit. And that is going to be one of the biggest challenges for the drivers.
In de pitstraat van het circuit op Zandvoort hier. De zon is inmiddels opgekomen. Uitstekende condities voor de voorjaarsraces. En ik sta hier naast Rick Heesters van de organisatie V-Max. Rick, het begin van een nieuw seizoen. Altijd hectisch. Dat is zoiets als kerst. Dat komt altijd onverwacht. Iedereen die raakt in de stress. Maar uiteindelijk komt het allemaal goed. Hoe heb jij de afgelopen dagen beleefd?
Ja, de winter is natuurlijk eigenlijk altijd te kort. Dat vinden de teams denk ik ook. En wij uiteindelijk ook. De laatste paar weken was het vooral een drukke, maar een hele leuke, leerzame periode voor iedereen in de paddock. We zijn druk bezig geweest met de aankleding om onze evenementen natuurlijk een stukje naar een nieuw niveau te brengen. En we hebben volop support gekregen van onze vrijwilligers, van de deelnemers, de teams. En ik denk dat we zo met het hele sterke team een heel leuk eerste evenement van het seizoen weg gaan zetten.
A brief summary in English. Rick says it's for the teams and everybody involved. The winter period, the winter break is always too short. There's always running out of time. But a lot of preparation has been invested into making this event a success. A lot of assistance they got from all the volunteers, from everybody involved in the organization, from all the teams, all the marshals, the people at the circuit, and everybody involved in making this event a success. So everything is set for a good opening of the season in the Supercar Challenge. Wat zijn je verwachtingen voor dit weekend?
Veel publiek, een lekker drukke zondag en ook zeker een lekker drukke zaterdag. De KNAF heeft ons meegeholpen dat een heleboel KNAF-licentiehouders vandaag langs konden komen om ook ons openingsevenement mee te kunnen krijgen. En ik verwacht dus echt dat we een hele leuke openingsronde gaan krijgen. Ik hoop dat het droog blijft. Een beetje regen maakt het wel spannend in de race, maar we gaan voor een succesvolle eerste.
So Rick says he's expecting a lot of spectators over the weekend, also today on the Saturday, because the Dutch Motorsport Federation has invited many license holders to get the opportunity to attend this event live, to get an insight into what's going on here behind the scenes, and also the on-track action for the Supercar Challenge and the Mazda MX-5 Cup. Weather forecast is a little bit changeable, so maybe a little bit of rain, but that's always good to spice up the action. So great expectations, good crowd expected on the Sunday as well. So everything is set for a good opening once again. I think we're ready for track action before the cars go out onto the circuit. De auto's gaan zo meteen het circuit op, dus ik geef graag terug aan de collega's boven in de cabine.
Thank you to the guys down in pit lane. Yes, we will begin with the sprint qualifying, and then we will have sprint races 1 and 2. We'll have some chance again tomorrow for another qualifying session, qualifying 3. There will also be a free practice session tomorrow morning as well before we end with the third race. You can just see the cars now queuing up at the end of the pit lane. So for the first 2 races, races 1 and 2, they will be shortened to 30-minute races, and then our full race tomorrow, race 3, will be 60 minutes in length. So we've got 2 qualifying sessions coming up for drivers 1 and drivers 2, as this Supercar Challenge is a championship where we have up to 2 drivers taking on each team. You can just see them now getting ready at the end of the pit lane, waiting for that green light, and then it will be all go for qualifying 1, which will be 15 minutes long, qualifying 2, which will be the same. Well, let's have a look at what happened yesterday. We had a free practice session yesterday, a couple of practice sessions, but the official free practice session took place yesterday. Marlon Birdsall for Koopman Racing, one of the legendary teams in this championship, in that BMW M6 GT3, a very popular car that is used throughout. That car, 111, was quickest. Marlon Birdsall for Koopman Racing with a 141.007, which gives us a little bit of a base to work from in terms of qualifying today. And then we had the 377, Mitchell van Dijk, Alan Berg was second. Here we can see them making their way out onto the circuit now. So we are now live for qualifying. I'm just hearing in my ear that we have some rain due on the way in about 15 minutes. Zandvoort, if you've never been there as a circuit, is a place, it's right on the coast, so the rain can come in very, very quickly from the seafront, and due to that, it's a very windy circuit as well. It's quite open, as you can see around. It's not one that's filled with huge grandstands all around, which I think makes it quite a unique circuit, really, and makes the pictures that we receive even better. So, but that makes it quite open, quite windy, and the weather can change here very, very quickly. Live coverage this year coming to you by the team at Alpha Live, and a great thing for the Supercar Challenge to have the championship live streamed this season. We'll also be bringing you coverage of the Mazda MX-5s a little bit later as well, so do keep an eye on that. That's going to be a really great championship to keep an eye on. But Supercar Challenge, let's just run through exactly how this works, because you'll already be seeing that there are cars that look slightly different. So we have 5 categories in the championship. We have GT, Super Sport Plus, Super Sport 2, and then Sport as well. So those are the different categories we have around in the championship. Some cars just making their way out onto the circuit now, getting those first banker laps in. I think qualifying 2 is going to be where we see the rain affecting the session. So in terms of those categories, we've got GT, which is the GT3 cars. Super Sport, we can expect more TCR cars and GT4 cars as well. I think we can see one of the Super Sport cars, which is Sport is made up of cars. So that is a bit of a look at what we have. So in Sport, we have some Renault Clio, some Alpines, A110. Those are the kind of cars we're going to be seeing in that session. Coreusa, you can see on screen, an absolute legend of the championship now for his own team at Coreusa Racing. Definitely is going to be one to keep an eye on for us this weekend, and always great to have him in the ship. He's an ex-F300, F3000 racer in the late 80s before doing some DTM, some sports cars as well. He's had a long history in the sport and continues that throughout now racing in this Supercar Challenge, where he has been a regular visitor. 4-time Supercar champion is Coreusa, and has also won the British GT Championship as well. So he's one that knows how to get out there and will want to go out, I'm sure, and set some laps very quickly. Next we can see on screen the number 282 car just making its way round. I think for now teams are just starting to build up in terms of their pace, just getting the tyres bedded in, and then the real times will start to come in. Marlon Birdsall is in the 111, has already come across the line. That's the quickest driver we had yesterday. You can see Harry Barton in the 118 is out there. We've got Dan Meyer in the 133 as well. Eric van den Munkhoff is in the 322. That's a Super Sport 1 driver. So I'll keep you up to date with which class is which as we go through. Supersport Plus leader, we're still in the process of getting these times in. Great to have you. As I said, throughout this season, we're going to have some really good action as we go throughout the season. I'm sure some great circuits on there. Just going to review the calendar for you one more time whilst we see the cars starting to build up qualifying session. So Zandvoort is first Spa on the 29th and 31st of May. Zolder will then be the 26th, 28th of June. Then off to Assen, 31st of June and 2nd of August. Hockenheim, the championship, will be with GT Open, and Hockenheim replaces Silverstone, coming back for the first time since 2022. So the 11th, 13th of September will be Hockenheim. Then off to Zandvoort again. We'll be back here on the 2nd and the 4th of October. And Assen will be the 23rd, 25th of October, the final races. If you are watching live and not able to get to Zandvoort, then as we heard from Rick on in pit lane, I do encourage you to get to as many races as you can near you, because you can see a huge variety of sports cars as well. And then we've got things like the Mazdas racing as well, along with several others. So I'd hugely recommend coming down to watch. There's going to be a bit of a demo later for the fans around the circuit. We've got Historics racing this weekend as well. Recommend getting to that Hockenheim race in particular. I think will be a good one. We've got someone off in the gravel, it seems, so this could be a pause to this qualifying session. Let's go through class leaders whilst we are at it. I can see the 133 of Dan Meyer just going through in the orange livery there. But I think we might see a red flag here. We'll have to keep an eye on it. It's a full course yellow, in fact, so same kind of thing, really. Well, this is a good time to review the time so far, because this full course yellow might last quite a while. That's going to, you can see that car is buried in the gravel, and we talked about this back section, turns 8, 9, very easy to get wrong, and if you put a wheel off on the grass, you're dragged straight off into quite a deep gravel trap, and getting out of there can take some time. So let's go through the order as we see it then. It's Marlon Birdsall, who currently leads 1:39.7, and that is already quicker than the times we had in free practice yesterday. Marlon in the 1:11, and then we have Dan Meyer next in second place in the 133 car. So he is second in the BMW M6. So it's BMWs 1 and 2 currently. Gilles van Houten in the 124 is next on the road. Then we have Ted Van Vliet in the 108. Harry Barton, the British driver in the BMW, is out there next. Red flag, and I think that's a sensible decision by race control. Cor Yusa, who we were watching at the start of the session in that Marcos LM600, fabulous looking car, and there it is on screen just as we say it, is next in P6. Then we get to Supersport Plus. So this is the next category of drivers now. Patrick Groets Schulten is in the 282 and is currently leading that category right now in the AMG GT4. So lots of GTs, lots of TCRs when we get to this category. The 273 is next, which is Barry Van Elk, and he is currently 8th place overall. Just looking at the gap to Patrick, it's just under 2/10 between the top two in Supersport. That is the current gap we have there. Roger DeLiu is in the 235, third in Supersport Plus. And then next along, we have Ruud Olij in the 246. So that is the next driver we have in the category. Dennis de Borst is in the Supersport 1, is leading that category currently with a 147.228. Half a second is Emil Drummond. So just half a second between those two. Laurens de Wit in the 402 leads the Supersport 2 category in the 402. So we'll keep an eye on Laurens to see how he gets on throughout this session. Currently class leader though, which I'm sure he'll be very happy with in terms of starting this session so far. Now, with the red flag, the clock has stopped with 8 minutes to go. So all cars will make their way back into pit lane now, and then we will get the green flag going. And I think that was the car we had in the gravel, actually. That looks like the 150 of Ivo Moens. So they've managed to get that car back out. And so this shouldn't be a lengthy delay now. Once we've got all the cars back in, we'll see them just lining up, and then we'll be away for 8 more minutes of this qualifying session. I'm going to continue to go through some of these drivers, because this might be my only chance to do so before the end of the session. Mitchell van Dijk is in the 377 in the Radical, and our only Radical category out there. Valentin Greven in the 226 comes next, and then we come to the Sport category after that. The BMW again leading in the Sport category, a BMW M346, and it's Martin Bagemans who currently leads that class. Next along is Chris Voet, and then it's Henry Greven in the 527. Nicolas Hegel is Supersport Plus. Didn't really get a full lap in, did Nicolas. Richard Blom, I think we could argue likewise. And then Thijs Wesseling, who could be one to watch. Thijs is next along. And Rob Niemann, Christian Diekhoff, Lorenzo van Riet, Cees Visman. Let's go down to the pit lane now.
Henk Koopman, start van het seizoen in de Supercar Challenge. Weer een hele vloot auto's van Koopman Racing hier aan de start. Hoe intensief was de voorbereidingsperiode?
De intensief is mega geweest. De laatste 6 maanden is niet normaal geweest. Ook met de NLS, met 24 uur en met alles wat we aan het doen zijn. Ook nieuwe organisator, nieuwe systemen, klanten. Ja, het is extreem. En 10 auto's of 9 auto's nu. We zouden er 12 hebben. Ja. Dit is even genoeg voor dit weekend, zeg maar. En ik hoop dat alles goed gaat. En de klanten hebben er zin in, de organisatie heeft er zin in. Dus nee, ik zeg zeker goed geregeld allemaal. Helemaal blij mee.
Heel goed, de actie wordt hervat. Dankjewel, succes. Henk Koopman saying that the past 6 months have been incredibly hectic for him. He planned to have 12 cars on the grid. He ended up with 9 for this weekend. But he says it's been crazy times, a lot of work, a lot of activities. Also combining it with the NLS running at the Nürburgring, the endurance races, where he ran a BMW Z4 only last week. A lot of activity, but he said, well, everybody is ready, the drivers are eager to go, and everything is set for a good start of the season, also for Koopman Racing, a mainstay in the Supercar Challenge.
Great to hear from the guys at Koopman Racing. Now we are back green again, 6.5 minutes to go whilst we have this. The champions last year, the reigning champions coming in this championship. It's been going since 2001, so if I was to go through them all, we'd go through this qualifying session and the next one, I think. But Wim Yildiz and Rick Renmans were our overall champions last year. We heard from Rick a little bit earlier. Hasso Kerik was the champion in the Supersport 2 category. Supersport Plus was Barry Van Elk, so Barry Van Elk back with us again. We'll be looking to try and add to those titles. Then we have Stef de Borst and Dennis de Borst next, and they are once again competing in Supersport, so they'll be looking to defend that title. And our sport champions were Bart van den Broek and Chris Voet. So Chris Voet is currently out there in the sport category, so again a team will be looking to defend, but a chance for some new drivers to win some championships here, which is always a good thing to see, and a nice grid overall. We've got 27 drivers currently out there. Just looking back through some of the previous champions as well, Dennis de Borst was an overall champion. Likewise was Chris Voet as well in 2017 and 2018 as well. So Kor Yusa won this championship in 2009, 2004, and also in 2002 as well, being either by himself or different compatriots along the way. So it's been a little while since Kor Yusa won. Let's see if he can get himself back to the top of this championship once again. But a great list when you look through the names that we've had win this championship. There are some real fabulous names on there. Mikael Verhagen, driver I recognise there. Bas Schutten, like really talented drivers. This is a championship for drivers who really are dedicated to competing in GT racing, but some will also use it as a route to come through racing the likes of the sport category, and then try and go on to compete full-time in sports car racing. So it provides a lot of different opportunities for the drivers across all the categories. It really is for the lovers of sports car racing, both on track and off it as well. So thanks for joining us. 273 just went off there. That's Barry Van Elk, who we were talking about, champion last year. So I've got to say, really enjoying his livery currently. Will have to let us know in the comments which is the favourite car, which is the livery you're enjoying the most, and who are you cheering for this season, and we'll have a readout of some of those throughout the day. You can hear the tyres absolutely squealing as they come through the final two corners, turns 13 and then this bank turn 14, which pictures don't do it justice. When you stand by that, you can really see how much banking there is there, and the wind does have an effect on that as well if it's blowing in that direction for the cars. 273, Barry Van Elk just coming over the line. It's very close at the top. Harry Barton has gone to second and is 100th away from Dan Meyer. And on this lap, let's focus a little bit on that. Harry Barton has just gone green through the first sector as well. So Barton looking to try and go to the top. Marlon Birdsall is currently in third place, just over a 10th back, but he is on a flying lap now. He's gone purple through the first sector, has the number 111 of Marlon Birdsall. That is the battle for the overall lead. You can see to the left of your screen live times as they come in, and Marlon Birdsall once again purple through the second sector, is going along really, really well on this lap here on 273, one of our competitors in Supersport Plus. Barry Van Elk, just looking at his times, 35. He's gone through the first sector, and that's a pretty good time from him. Let's see what he does through the next one. It's not his quickest first sector, but we'll see if he can add to that as he comes up to the end of the second sector, which is here. Now he's about to come over the split and into the final sector. Just having a look at the top of the timing, Marlon Birdsall has gone quickest, 139.476. Dan Meyer is in the pit lane, so they feel they've done enough for this session, but it wasn't enough to stay at the top. It's Marlon Birdsall who has taken provisional pole position. Harry Barton is there in third place and is only just over a 10th back from Marlon Birdsall. Still going round as well, still circulating is Barton. So let's see if he can add to that time and try and improve on it. It was Dan Meyer who took pole position here in a couple of sessions last year, so Dan Meyer really knows how to go well here, but it looks like Marlon Birdsall will be the quickest driver, and here he is on screen now, the 111 car. Let's see if he can go quicker on this lap, making his way through the left-hander now at turn 10 in that BMW M6, and he's pulling over, so he feels he's done enough. Monitoring the rest of the times, we've got Giels van Houten, who has done a personal best first sector and a personal best second sector as well. Let's see if the 124 car can go any quicker on this lap. He's currently 1.3 back from the overall leaders, and Van Houten is just coming through the final sector now, so very shortly will come over the line as Harry Barton does a fastest, a purple sector 3. Ted Van Fleet has also done a personal best lap with a 141.9, so he is currently 5th overall, and that is currently the overall times. You can see them to your left. Let's go through the other category leaders. It's Patrick Grootschulten who leads Supersport Plus. In Supersport 1 it is Dennis de Borst, and then we have Supersport 2 Lawrence de Witt, and Martin Bagemans is leading the sport category so far. Just see if we have where are the closest battles. I'd say Supersport 1, Lorenzo de Vliet has an opportunity to go a little bit quicker here. They sound great, don't they, these cars, as we see them now, just watching the next driver come through and in towards this bottom section of the circuit. You can hear it on the brakes coming down. I think that is Dennis de Borst we are having a look at. Yes, it is the 301. has gone personal best sector 1. A little bit slower through the second sector, but still an opportunity to gain some places. Overall, is currently second in Supersport 1. Lorenzo de Vliet is leading that one. Let's see what he can do as he comes over the line, out of the banking, down the start-finish straight, and now are we going to get another fastest time? Dennis de Borst does do a personal best, but does not improve from second in category. 13th overall, though. I think he'll be happy with that one. And Harry Barton stealing pole position right at the end there whilst we were monitoring that. Harry Barton has done a 1:39.110. So the British driver going fastest right at the end. Did not see that one coming. It looked like Marlon Birdsall had that one, but 3/10 is quite a significant gap given what we were following throughout that session. So Harry Barton taking pole position ahead of Marlon Birdsall, Dan Meyer, and then we have Gilles van Houten, Ted van Vliet, Mitchell van Dijk is next, Patrick Gruutschulten, Lorenzo de Vliet, Thijs Vesseling, Ruud Olij is 10th place overall, and that is that for the first qualifying session. There will be driver swaps for qualifying 2, but the grid is now set for our first race of the Supercar Challenge coming up a little bit later today at 1:30 local time.
Marlon Birdsall, vroeg wakker op de zaterdagmorgen, snelste tijd in de kwalificatie. Hoe lastig waren de omstandigheden voor jou?
Nou, ik heb net te horen gekregen dat ik tweede ben, omdat mijn teammate net wat sneller was. Heel lastig om een plekje te vinden, dus in de tweede kwalificatie ga ik weer mijn best doen. Zeker weten.
Heel goed, dankjewel. So I was just...
Good to hear from the guys down in pit lane. Marlon Birdsall, second place overall, but it's Harry Barton who takes the win now. There will be some driver swaps for those who have 2 drivers competing with them in the championship this season. So anyone doing driver shares will now swap over and set the grid for the second race of the day, which will be at 4:05 local time here in the Netherlands. We will then have a third qualifying session tomorrow, which will be at 1:30 local time, and our final race will be at 5:10. 60 minutes rolling start. You've got to make sure you're tuned in for that one, but particularly the sprint races, 30 minutes lights to flag action in races 1 and races 2, and they're going to be great to watch. Just looking back through the results, some close battles, particularly at the top. I think this battle between Harry Barton, Marlon Birdsall, Dan Meyer is going to be a really good one to watch. Just half a second between them, but you've got to remember that Dan had pulled into the pit lane in the 1-3-3, whilst Marlon and Harry went on to do their last flying laps. Patrick Gruutschulten leads Supersport Plus. Just having a look back, he was only 2/10 ahead of Thijs Vesseling, and then 100th back to the next Supersport Plus. So it really is going to be close throughout a lot of the categories here, as we now get ready to go for qualifying 2, which will be lights out at 10:05. So I imagine that will be any second now. Zandvoort, a beautiful part of the world, and even the wildlife trying to get a good view for this next qualifying session. Qualifying 2. Coming up, thank you to all of you who are tuned in to this live stream. Do let us know in the comments who you are supporting, which cars are your favourites as well. If you could get a passenger lap in any car, let us know which one that would be. I'd love to hear your suggestions. I'm going to have to answer that question myself now, aren't I? I'd go for the... let's have a look. I'll come back to that. We're going to have an interview first.
Races, how did it go for you?
Yeah, really well. The traffic is quite tricky. We had a last-minute setup change from yesterday, so I was trying that out a little bit. Yeah, the traffic was quite tricky to manage, but yeah, I managed to get a nice one at the end.
Now another second qualifying. There was a slight drizzle just earlier on. How difficult, how challenging are the conditions?
They're not too bad, to be fair. I think the temperatures dropped from yesterday, so I think corner track temp with the good tyres is making for quite a nice combination.
Okay, thank you very much. Good luck. So Harry Barton, last minute pole position voor hem. Een paar veranderingen in de afstelling die hij gemaakt heeft. Condities waren wat lastig, zei hij. Klein beetje regen aan het eind van de sessie. En hij gaat nu nog een keer proberen om in qualifying 2 ook weer een snelle rondetijd neer te zetten.
Thank you from Harry Barton. Very interesting stuff what he was saying there about the temperature dropping. And as he mentioned, drivers do feel that often makes for a really nice combination. The track temperature doesn't go too excessive, but enough that you can really push without really struggling when you're turning into the corners, coming out of the corners as well. So that was a very insightful interview. Now, we did have rain expected, and I'm just looking around. You can see the clouds are coming over. The rain can come in very quickly. It can look like it's not going to rain, and then it will, but there are some threatening clouds around. So I think this session will be more a case of get out there as quickly as possible, get a lap time in, because you may find yourself sat in the pit lane for the rest of the session, unless you want to go and do some wet testing, of course. Now, my answer to that question, which one would I get a passenger lap in? I'd go with Cole User, actually. I think the legend that is, being also a fan of single-seater racing, I'd love to spend a lap with him. There we can see the 501 just to our left, Bart van den Broek. So these are the sport category cars we are looking at now, the Alpine A110 there. But let us know which car would you enjoy. And there he is, right on cue. The guys were listening, Cole User, we can see on screen. The 100 car, just waiting to go. 501 of Bart van den Broek, because he has 01 on his number. It means he is a reigning champion. Likewise, Stef de Borst, who has jumped in for this session, another reigning champion out there as well in Super Sport 1. Super Plus, though, no defending champions. Likewise in GT as well. So some opportunities there for some changes, but a championship battle will not be on the driver's mind at this point. It will just be getting a good start to the season before we then press on with the calendar moving forward. So that is one thing that they will have in their mind. Just get off, get some points in the bag, and keep ourselves within arm's length before bit of a break after this, and then we're back on the 29th, 31st of May for round 2 for the Spa Euro races. Really excited to be at that one. Spa, an absolute fabulous circuit to watch these cars go around. Hockenheim as well. I think that's going to be a great addition back to the circuit. We're going to head to Germany for the first time since 2022. Silverstone, that is a great circuit which it replaces, but I think Hockenheim, so many overtaking opportunities as you head down to the hairpin and through the stadium section as well. So if you're anywhere near Hockenheim, I hugely recommend going, because being sat in that stadium section is really, really good. I was lucky enough to be there for Porsche Carrera Cup Germany finale last year, and the crowd noise alone was fantastic, let alone what happened on the circuit. So do get down and see that one. Round 5 as well, we'll be getting to the business end of the season. All the cars now just getting ready at the end of the pit lane. We're almost set to go. It looks like Harry Barton is going to lead us out in that BMW. Was very happy with his first session and stole pole position at the end, but his need to get out, I think, might be because of this rain that is due to come in. So any first drivers and teams have now done their work. They've handed over for the second drivers, but for many drivers like Harry, Paul User, Dan Meyer, they're back in every session throughout this weekend. Okay, green lights, we are away. 3-2-1 of Tom Drummond, not in a huge rush to get going. There's the Radical, we just have the one this weekend, Alan Berg. But that's an invitation to invite some more throughout the season. Radical cars, really fast bits of kits. Had a lap in one of those once, and I've got to say it is quite the beast because of the open cockpit. You really do feel the speed that you're going round in. So Radical's always great to have a look at. And that's another reason I'd say to come down. It's a very friendly paddock, a very open paddock, and I'm sure you get the opportunity to see all the cars up close and personal, meet some of the drivers as well, and get a look at some of your favourite cars throughout. So another reason why I would recommend coming down, buying a ticket to come and watch this event. You can see green flag is out then. 13 minutes and 45 seconds to go. Whoa, Alan Berg there, almost going straight into the side of another car. He is in a real hurry to get going in this session. Just making their way down to turns 11 and 12. This is where it's very easy to go off into the gravel. Is this session here, and I think the car ahead actually almost had a visit into that gravel trap right there. So let's see how this session goes. A clean first qualifying of the season, I have to say. We had one car, didn't we, that went off around turns 8 and 9. Full course yellow turned into a red flag, and then after that we were green throughout, and there was no real yellow flags around. So a really good start, a clean start. Now I've said that, this one's going to be filled with yellow flags, isn't it? But let's hope that isn't the case. It's been a really good start to qualifying so far. For the drivers who have already done a first qualifying session, we've really got an eye in now for this next one. Here is Koryusa coming round, and that's the difference you get in this championship, because we go from that to Rob Neiman in the 502, who's in the Renault Clio Evo. And that is one of the great things about this championship, just the difference we have between the GT4 cars in the overall GT category, and then the sports category as well, which we're now looking at. This the lowest class, if you like, in terms of performance, lowest performance class from cars that we have out there. But that said, those sport categories can lead to very good racing. Watching Clio's race is very good, but putting a Clio against another type of car similar is even better. 402 we now pick up. There's been no real times come in so far. We'll wait to see Harry Barton dropped into the one pins in that session. Went even quicker than that, wasn't it? It was around 1:37s for the pole sitter. Let's see if we can make it a double pole now. Now, hearing from our director that we do have rain reported around track, so this could be qualifying decided right here, this lap. So let's focus in then, because it's going to be essentially a one-lap shootout now. This is going to be a huge test for the drivers as we see the 402 making its way up towards the final two corners now. Light rain would mean they might get away with it for 2 laps, but we'll be seeing the wipers going soon, and that will be our real indication that the rain is coming down quite heavily. Here comes that 402 down now, which is Fabian Schoonhoven. Let's see what he can do as he makes his way over the line. He goes to 9th place overall, but this is going to be it. Marlon Birdsall has gone quickest last time round with a 1:37.9. Harry Barton is on a flyer as well. He's done a 33.5 through the first sector. Second sector didn't go quicker, but Harry Barton could be about to go to provisional pole position. Looking back through, Alan Berg is going very quickly as well in his Radical. Picking up the drivers now, you can see a lot of them fighting with the car through turns 9 into 10. Gilles van Houten also going along well in his car. The 307 we have a look at now is Oscar Repa, which is the driver 3rd in Supersport 1, make that 4th now as Harry Barton completes his lap and is 1.1 seconds back from Marlon Birdsall. Still waiting to see Dan Meyer leave the pit lane. I don't know what's happening there, but he has been out, but has returned straight back to the pit lane. So, and if there's an issue for him, or if he is just waiting for the end of the session, we'll have to find out. Cees Weissman, we haven't seen that car on track, nor either Moens. So, two drivers yet to appear on the circuit. Back to what we are seeing on circuit. Alan Berg has gone to fourth. Car on our screen here, 307. Oscar Grepa has just gone fastest in the Super Sport 1 category. So class leader on your screen now, and it looked a very tidy lap as we followed it throughout. Sector times coming in. Alan Berg has done a 34.5 through the first sector. Could be about to challenge the top 3 overall in his radical, but we watch class leader in the Super Sport 1. Oscar Grepa is 3/10 ahead of Mike Barton. Stef de Borst 6/10 back from him, so about a second back from our class leader. But as I say that, Stef de Borst is going quicker on this lap. A personal best sector 1, a personal best sector 2 as well. In terms of the sport category, it's Martin Bagermans who leads in the 503. That's the BMW M3 out there, as Alan Berg now sets a fastest second sector, quickest of anyone overall in that radical. And he looked very lively at the start of the session, didn't he? Looked like he wanted to get out there and go through. He's about to cross the line right now. Let's see what he does as he comes over. Third place overall for the radical. So Alan Berg has moved into the top 3. Confirmation to the top left of your screens. Let's watch this lap though. We are seeing Oscar Grepa, who has lost the lead in the Super Sport 1 category to Stef de Borst, so this has to be a quicker lap. Looks like it will be from the 307. Does not go ahead of Stef de Borst though. Goes to 10th overall, second in class, but is about 1.1 seconds back from Stef de Borst, so we'll need to try and improve. Update on sport category now. We're looking at the 506 Renault Clio of Christian Dijkhoff. Let's see if Christian can improve. We haven't really seen him do a respectable time yet. He's yet to put a real time on the board. This will be the first time I think we're going to see that. Does a 41.8 through the first sector. How about sector 2? Let's find out. In terms of the time he has to beat, it's a 150 from Martin Bagermans, who for now feels he's done enough. He's come into the pit lane. Rob Niemann is then second in class, about 2.7 back. So Martin Bagermans really dominating that class. But we are watching Christian Dijkhoff on screen now. 41.8 through the first sector, 42.3. So is improving, but at a steady rate so far in terms of the leaders ahead. Just seeing if Dan Meyer looks like he's now left the pit lane. So we've got to keep an eye on this 133 driver. Dan Meyer could appear to the top left of screen. Here's Alan Berg. He's absolutely flying throughout this session. Didn't go quicker on that last lap, but was once again sub 140. It looks absolutely fantastic, doesn't it? He may be the only radical out there, but that doesn't mean he cannot win this race overall and get on the overall podium. So Alan Berg will be out there to try and compete with those GT3 cars, try and put himself ahead if he can. 1.7 back so far, but has gone personal best through the first sector. Is appearing to a bit of traffic now. One of the Super Sport cars ahead, and Alan Berg there trying to find a gap on the inside. And this is what a lot of this session is about, because there are so many categories. That was a great example for the GT drivers. They have to try and get a clean lap without any traffic, and I think that's what worked in Harry Barton's advantage come the end of the session. But then likewise for the sport drivers, they have to get a lap whilst being overtaken by these GT3 cars. So your Renault Clios and the BMW M3s, for example, have to try and set a lap whilst not getting out of the way, which they do not have to do, but also not getting overtaken too much. So there is a sweet spot in this championship to finding a great lap where you do not appear to too much traffic, and that, I think, is what we saw last time around. Harry Barton finding the sweet spot on the circuit, but also within his performance as well. Alan Berg over the line. Now, slower on that lap, no surprise. So we'll try and clear some traffic and go again next time round. Marlon Birdsall leading the way in pit lane. Then Harry Barton, who is still on track, but I think has been just appearing to some traffic at times. We haven't seen him get to the times we saw last time around. So let's see if he can improve. And here he is on screen now. So let's watch this overall GT driver trying to set a lap time around this circuit. When we're at somewhere like Spa, it's such a big circuit that these GT drivers can clear most of those cars down the straights after Eau Rouge. But in a narrow circuit like Zandvoort, lots of elevation, it's a lot more difficult, and there's not huge runoff areas like you get at somewhere like Spa, where you can go 4 wheels over. Here, if you try and go even 1 wheel off, you could spin the car around into a barrier which will appear very quickly. So it's quite a unique circuit in that suggestion, and one I'd say a lot of drivers like. You could argue it's a real driver's circuit. Harry Barton over the line, and he's going to try and get another lap in here, but there we go, a bit of traffic coming up, so his first corner will be affected. This is probably the worst place you can catch traffic. He now goes through into turn 2, and a bit of a clear road ahead now, so Harry Barton will try and take advantage of it. Who is he overtaking? It was Tom Drummond, who is in the Supersport 1 category. That leader is Steph de Boer still. Thijs Vesseling leads Supersport Plus. Supersport 2, Fabian Schoenhoven. Martin Bagemans continues to lead sport, but we'll focus now on this lap from Harry Barton. Over the crest into turn 7. Blind entry as you go in. And then down the elevation, straight back up again. It's like a roller coaster, this section of the circuit, into turn 8. This very easy to make a mistake. And then we'll see him through turn 9. Harry Barton not going quicker on this lap currently, so let's check in with another driver and see how they're getting on. 2:36 we look at next, which is Nicolas Spiegel, and I think I can see exactly why we're watching him now, because he's done personal best sector 1 and 2 in the Supersport Plus. And could this be the first time we see Nicolas try and challenge the top of this category? Up to the line he comes now. This is looking good from Nicolas Spiegel. Does a personal best, 149.352, so personal best lap time set by him. 18th overall, and in the Supersport Plus category. Just having a look throughout the times, Dan Meyer has gone 4th, so we did see him on his lap time. We did keep an eye on the fact he was back out. Dan Meyer has just done a personal best and now trying to set himself up for one more flying lap, because this will be the last flying laps. Dan Meyer, who did take 2 pole positions here last year, so is definitely one to watch in that 133 car. Here is your leader overall now, which is Marlon Birdsall. Harry Barton is in pit lane, so it will not be a double pole position for him. Alan Berg is about to come over the line to start his last flying lap, as is Dan Meyer. Let's see how those guys get on this lap. Down the hill and into turn 11, we see. Looks like we're just monitoring the 108, or the 108 car here, just coming through, which is Ted Van Vliet. Has done a personal best first sector. He's currently P6 overall. Let's see what he can do. Alan Berg, Dan Meyer are in pit lane, by the way. You might have noticed that to the top left. So Marlon Birdsall, it looks like this will be pole position, unless Gilles Van Heulen or Ted Van Vliet can pull out something special. Then I think that will be that. Let's watch Ted Van Vliet on this last lap. Looks like he is still pushing. I don't think this is a lap to the pits. I think this is a one last attempt to take pole, because the checker flag is now waving. Will he have a clear track here? And will that help in his attempt to try and take pole position for the second race coming up later today. 34.9 through the first sector. It's solid, but not his quickest. Let's watch sector 2 now. Into turn 8 up the hill, and then through turn 9 here. You can see just a bit of runoff there, but the moment you start using it, the moment you get dragged out onto the gravel trap. Out of turn 9 into turn 10 as well. Got to set the car up just beyond the middle of the circuit, turn it in, and then it's a long left-hander. Use all of the track and run off as you exit the corner, and then comes the run downhill, which appears very quickly. Turn 11, here it comes there. Take the curb through the right, and then into the bowl section at the left. That's a very easy place to run wide, but Ted Van Vliet's getting through nicely. And we come into the final 2 corners, and it looks like he's bailed and will be coming into pit lane. So that will be that for qualifying this morning. We now have the grids set for our first 2 races. Marlon Birdsall has taken pole position in the 111, so 2 different pole sitters today. Harry Barton second, hugely impressive from Alan Berg, who is third. Dan Meyer in 4th, but missed a long part of that session. So Dan Meyer in the end taking 4th. Gilles van Houten was 5th. Ted Van Vliet next, and Cor User was in P7. Supersport Plus, Thijs Vesseling leading the way from Ruud Olij Valentin Greven. Stef de Borst leading Supersport 1 ahead of Oscar Gleper and Mike Barton. Supersport 2, Fabian Schoonhoven leads the way in that one. And then Martin Bagermans is your quickest sports driver in the 503, who we did see plenty of in that session, ahead of Rob Neiman and Bart van den Broek. So that is that for qualifying this morning here at Zandvoort. In terms of the races, 2 30-minute sprint races coming up later today. Race 1 will be at 30 minutes past 1 local time, and then the second sprint race, that will be later on at 5 past 4, and that's when we will next be bringing you the live pictures here. We will have qualifying for Mazdas at 2:35, and then their first race at 25 past 5 a little later today. Sprint races, in terms of what's the difference between them and the main races, well, the main thing is the distance, but also the points as well. Main races, it's 24 points for the winner, 22 to second, 20 to third. You do get a point for pole position for that main race as well. And the sprint races is essentially half points. So 12 for the win, working its way down to 3 for 10th. There is the overall standings for qualifying 2. Marlon Birdsall and Harry Barton makes it racing 1-2. Thijs Vesseling for CP Motorsport leading the next category. And then we have Stef de Borst along next, and the 503 in the sport category. Martin Bagermans doing very well. That's a look at all of the second drivers who went out qualifying 2, and the grid is set for race 2 coming up later. Sprint races, shorter distance, fewer points, but that does not mean it will affect the race action. I can guarantee you that the sprint races are often the more exciting ones to watch, more action-packed, because drivers just give it absolutely everything and have less time to work their way through the field, less time to build a gap. So I really do encourage that you are with us for that one. And there'll be nothing like driver swaps as well. So it will be what it says on the tin. It will be a sprint race to the line. Cars just making their way back into the paddock. You can see there, just loop round this right-hander, and then that leads you into the paddock area just at the end of this point. You can see just to the left of screen where the people are walking, that's pit lane. That's just the other side of pit lane. So beyond that barrier is your entry to pit lane. And then the paddock is the building just in front of us there. That is the paddock building here at Zandvoort. Really nice location. So you can see the cars just beginning to queue up, waiting to head back into the paddock area. Grandstand to our left, that's a great viewing point, but also here as well, where the cars are watching, You can stand here sometimes and get a really nice view of them coming down through turns 11 into turn 12 as well. It's a nice viewing point. There's so many around this circuit though. There is a grandstand just beyond the main grandstand there as well. You might be able to see that is one's open on race weekends, and you can head up there and watch the cars come round turn 14, and then just beneath you is pit lane entry. So it's a fantastic place to go and watch if you're ever at an event. If you're here this weekend, if you're coming tomorrow, that's a lovely viewing spot. But if you're ever at Zandvoort on another weekend, that's a great place to watch from as well. So a bit of rain in that session, not a huge amount though. Let's see if that will affect us later. But this is the start, V-Max racing events. This is the start of our season, and a great job from them to organize everything, to make sure we're all set and ready to go, and to also work with the Alpha Live team to bring you broadcasts for this season as well. We're going to have a full races commentary by myself, Chris McCarthy, in English. We've got Dutch commentary as well, and that is going to be throughout all the qualifyings and all the races at selected events this season. So make sure you are tuned in throughout the season to follow the Supercar Challenge journey, the 26th running of its championship that has been going since 2001. It's been it's got a long history, has it? And there's a reason why we still have a full grid every time we go racing, due to how good the organization is of this event. I can just see Mazdas are beginning to get ready to go out for their free practice 2 session, and a great grid of Mazdas, again 20 plus it looks like for the Mazdas. So let's make sure you keep an eye on that one. That coverage will begin at 2:35. That is all though from qualifying. Do join us again for race 1 at 1:30 local time here in the Netherlands. For now, for myself, Chris McCarthy, it's goodbye. Hello, guys.